Hello there everyone, and thanks for joining me today. It's Lydia here with you, and today we'll be creating these two cards using one card layer. We do have two card bases, but it will just be one card layer that we are using with the stamping and then doing a touch of die cutting as well. So it's a really fun technique and I hope that you do like it. We'll be using Victoria's Very Many Florals from Winnie and Walter, even though it's a holiday stamp set, but you can still use this all year round just using the different colour combinations. We're going to be using just one of the layers of the florals. There are two, but as I wanted to create a light card, a light feeling card, I decided to just use one of the layers on this. So I'm going to start by creating a card panel, and this is going to be a stamped background card panel. So I'm just going to be using the whole of this to stamp all of the images. Well, not all of the images, a lot of the images from the set. So I'm going to be using fun spring light colours. So I'm using some light pinks, a lovely turquoise colour, which is my favourite of all time, and also a yellow. I find that yellows really do brighten up a stamped panel a lot just by using a tiny bit of yellow. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using a yellow for one of the little bud images, but I'm also going to use the yellow to stamp in the centres too. So I'm just going to stamp this whole panel using some of the colours that I've just described. So I'm using a large turquoise flower, some small pink ones, and the little bud in the yellow. And the greens, I'm using two different leaf images, but I'm using the same green on each. So it's a nice light green that I'm using. So I have sped up this panel up a little bit because it did take me a little time to do the whole of the stamping of the panel. But because I'm going to be using this panel for two cards, I don't find, I like stamping backgrounds anyway. So just doing a little bit of background stamping is rather relaxing. So I have sped up this part for you because you don't want to watch all of that. It is easier, I mean, not easier, but it takes a little bit less time to stamp in the second layer of these images because you already have them in place, because you've already done your little jigsaw background panel. So all you're doing is filling in the little pieces that you need to. So once I've done all the little centres and the second layer of the bud using all like yellow colours, I've used a really light orange as well. I'm then going to take this panel and I am going to die cut it. So I'm using these 4 words from the Winnie and Walter set, and I've attached them together using some tape. So I will list all the supplies in my description, so you'll be able to see which ones these ones are. So I've added these in, so they're birthday tiles, sorry. So I've taped them all together, so 4 of them are taped together so they will not move. I've die cut the bottom, I've lined this up with the bottom, and then I'm going to line it up with the top. Now I haven't removed the letters that have stuck into the panel because I want them to keep in. It is easier if they do stay in the panel at this point. So I've tried to keep as many of those letters in as possible. So I've removed the letters that did stay into the die, and then I have cut the top part. Again, you can see that I'm doing it very, very carefully so the letters do stay in as much as possible. So I'm then going to remove the inside, so the landlocked areas of the letters. I'm not going to be needing these, so I'm just going to remove those now because it's going to be easier for the next part that we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to remove these quickly. So in between the B, in the middle of the O's and the A's. So you're just going to make sure that all of those are gone and you're not going to need them. I'm then going to work on this line by line. So I'm gluing I've turned my sheet over and I'm just adding glue to the back of the letters. I'm trying not to get it on any of the pieces that are outside of the letters because I do not want to stick that down. I just want the letters to stick down. So for the first time I did glue the first 2 lines, but I found that the glue did dry a little bit quicker than I wanted it to. So I would recommend that you just go line by line for this stage of the card. So I've added the glue to the first 2 lines. Again, I would recommend the first one. So I'm going to pop it into the place on my card layer, and then I'm just going to take like a little needle or a pokey tool if you have one. I have seemed to have misplaced mine at this point, so I have just been using a long hairpin. So I'm pushing all the pieces down, so I'm hoping that the letters are going to stick to the card layer, and then, you know, give it a really good push down so they do adhere well. The second layer didn't adhere as well as I would have wanted it to, so so that's why I recommend just doing it line by line. So once you have the pieces stuck into place, remove the layer that you've just been working with, and then you're going to be able to push these pieces down to make sure that they are really, really well adhered to your card base. Then you can pop your layer back into place, so the letters will hold it into place this time. And then you just add in the letters that that was stuck in the die. So you pop them out, and then you can pop them back into place with a little bit of glue. So it does take a little bit of time, but I really do think that this is going to be worth it, seeing as though you're getting 2 cards out of 1 stamping panel, as it were. So there it is looking with the first 2 lines. So again, I'm just going to go in, but again, like I said before, I recommend you do the 1 line at a time. I am now doing the 1 lines, and it does work a lot better than trying to do 2 lines at a time. So I'm just adding, as you can see, I've added the glue just to the letters, not any on the card panel itself. I'm then putting this back into place by lining it up with the other letters that we've popped in before. They work as kind of like a hold now, because the other panel fits around them, and it holds the other pieces into place. So again, I'm just going to poke all these letters through. So this is why we removed the inside of the A before, because otherwise it would have been a little bit tricky to remove it at this point. I do find that removing it when we did works the best. So I've just gone through the whole of the card, going line by line, gluing all the little pieces in, and I think that this is such a sweet little card. I love the subtle patterns on the letters, but now we have this piece left, and this is not a piece that you're going to want to chuck away. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some adhesive on the back of this. You can see that I've already done a bit of stamping on the back of this panel, but I have recycled it. So I'm just going to add some glue onto there, and I'm then going to add this onto a card base. So I would recommend using wet glue for this, because it does give you a little bit of wiggle room, and as you can see, I do wiggle a little bit off. So I do find that wet glue is probably the best for me. Maybe you are a little bit better with dry glue than I am, but me and wet glue, we're pretty good friends, so I'm going to stick with it this way. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that that's pretty well stuck down, and there is the second card. So we've created 2 cards with 1 stamping panel and 1 die cut panel as well. So here are the cards, looking a little bit prettier than before, I must say. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video and that you do give it a try. This is one of my favourite techniques. I do like getting more than 1 card out of 1 stamping panel. So thank you so much for watching. If you would like to watch any more videos, I have 2 more here for you, and I would love if you do subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I really do hope that you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.